Hi everyone, welcome back to Shell Star Stitches. This video today is going to be showing you my yarn winding tools, if that's what you'll call them. Yes, tools. In my previous video I showed you my Siobhan's haul, which is hand-dyed yarn, and as we mentioned with hand-dyed yarn, they come in skein form like this, which means they are not ready for you to just pull out and start to use like a normal ball of wool you'll buy off the shelf in, let's say, Hobbycraft. Other craft shops are available. So this is to show you how to wind your yarn. Now you don't have to buy these tools, but speaking as a girl from experience, I used to try and put this around my knees and try and wind it myself. And I've got a very famous picture of me with just a big ball of knotted mess. It looked like a cat had gone out my ball of yarn, and I wanted to just start a project, and it took me over 3 hours to sort out this ball of yarn. So in terms of, excuse me, really losing my voice. In terms of tools, for me, they're worth their money. These weren't really expensive tools, I have to say. You can buy more expensive, but these were worth me buying for the 3-hour headache to wind one ball of yarn. Especially where I've made jumpers and cardigans now with hand dye, and I've used like 5 or 6 balls of these. It's taken me like half an hour to wind them, whereas, yeah, 3 hours on one ball. So I'm going to try and show you what I've got here. So this thing here in front of me, if I try and tilt you slightly, you can see we've got, this moves around, and we've got a little metal part at the back to keep your yarn taut. And you can't see on this side, but probably you could just about see it there if I go slow. I've got a little handle here to turn this. This is a Knit Pro wool winder. So this is where you're going to wind the wool onto. So this cakes it, that's what it's called. You cake the yarn when you ball it up. I didn't know that, I learned that when I first started doing this. And this is a Knit Pro. I think this was about £23–24, something like that. I'll try and find some links to the Knit Pro wool winder for you and post them. I think Amazon have them, independent shops. I bought this from Knit and Yarn, who's an independent small business in the UK. But yeah, you can get these in quite a few different places. But this is what the ball will start to appear on. And then off camera, you can't see, but I'm going to pop it up all of a sudden so you can see it pop into view. Oh, hopefully, she says. You see some of that? Let me shimmy it along. This, I'll lower it down for you, looks like an umbrella. It goes up and down. So depending on how big your ball is, so if you've got 100 gram, 100 gram, like this one, or 50 grams or 20 gram skeins, you can use this because you can make it smaller or full size big. So it's very much like an umbrella. So I've just got a little TV, this is like a little cheapy TV table from Argos that I set it up on. So they've both got clamps on the bottom. I don't think I can hold my table up, but can you see? They're clamped on there. So they won't move unless you tug on them too hard. So yeah, I'm going to try and show you how we do this without boring you to tears. So take off the little, should just be able to pop off the little sleeve. I couldn't think of the word. And your yarn will be like this. So all it is they've twisted, it's all long and they've twisted it, and it's twisted back on itself. And one end, so this end you can see is the actual natural curve of the yarn. And then this end, if you can see, can you see this is popped in underneath? So I'll pull that out so you can see there, it's popped in. And if I let it go now, it'll untwist. So this is what your hand dye looks like when it's, obviously, so you can't use this because you'll just get in a right old mess. So what dyers you do is they tie it up in various places, and they would lay it out like so, and then put on the colour and let it then let it dry once they'd set it, because this is where I've had to go a hand dye and kind of know what you do. So we're going to attach it now. So we pop it onto, you leave all these ties on, don't take them off until you've got it onto this Swift, because what we're going to do is place it around the Swift and then put the Swift up to make it taut. Then we can take them off. So we want to get it securely in place first. So I'm going to just hold, you can see, sorry, I've got all this gap here, so I need to pop it up, pop it up, pop it up, so it's nice and tight now. So you can see it's going to spin round. So now we just, once we've got it taut and we're happy, we then find all the little places where it's been tied. So we can see that it's been tied together there. So we just snip that and then we can pull it through. That's just the end where they've tied it together. So we remove all of those and get those out of the way. But you can see why it's better to do this once you've got it on here, otherwise it'll just start getting in a knotty mess. Snip that one, pull that through. It's normally, most dyers put about 3 or 4. Oh, that one's got cool. Look for the next one. Right, I think that's the last one. What they normally do is the actual proper ends of the yarn as well, you can normally see are tied in here. So I think when I undo it, yeah, there we go, we've lost the end, but we haven't lost it, it's fine. So I'm just going to check. I don't think I've got any more. No, right, so we've taken off the little strings that keep all the yarn in place and too tangled. So this end just popped itself out, so I'm just going to pick that. So what we do is we wind it, and I can kind of bend down for you. We wind it through here, and that is just to help you keep it taut between the Swift and the yarn winder, the wool winder. So I'll stick you back up. We've got a little slit. This comes apart, so I'll show you, because it comes apart in the box. I don't know if you can see, you've got like little notches here and here on the main post. So we're just going to catch the yarn in here to hold this end in place, because what's going to happen is this end that we've got here will become the middle of your ball, and then we're just going to keep winding around it, so it just clicks in and then turns to slot in place. So we're going to just pop that in the gap there, if you can see, and I'm going to move over this way a little bit. So now it's just a case of turning the winder whichever way you feel comfortable, away from you, towards you, it doesn't matter which way, as long as you continue to stay the same direction as you go through. So I'm right-handed and I go clockwise. Yeah, so it's going to look anti-clockwise probably to you. Right, so I like to sort of keep mine taut with my hand, and I go slow to start with at the beginning, because otherwise you could just lose this middle section. So we're just going to start, and what happens is the Swift will naturally turn. As we're turning and pulling to cake it, it's naturally turning. Can you see that? So now I've got a little bit more on, I can start to speed up, and you see it's got momentum, so it starts to go of its own accord. So we're going to keep going. And you can cake something up quite quickly. You do sometimes get in a bit of a muddle with this, and sometimes it gets a little bit stuck. But you just take your time. It's far quicker than having to try and do it on your knees. And also, if you wanted to split, so I've done socks previously, and I wanted to split the yarn, so I had enough for 2 socks. So you can kind of do that and pull the ball off and weigh it and make sure you've got enough, or sort of split it that way in 2 different ends. I think I had mini skeins and I cut them apart, cut them in half, and then wound each one in the same order so that they would work for my socks. So as you can see, apologies if anyone gets a bit dizzy, this goes round quite quickly, and it's just got a little bit stuck there because it's got, sometimes you need to just twist the yarn to let your bit out where it gets a little bit stuck, and then it'll get back into its momentum. So don't panic if it just all of a sudden stops. I quite like this, it's quite fun. I sit and watch the telly and do it, but my husband hates it because of the noise. It's not noisy, but I suppose it's a distraction when you're trying to watch a programme. So we've gone a little bit too far there, but that's fine. I'm going to just keep it taut with my hand. And there we go. Yeah, as I say, it's mainly the winder that's making a slightly clunky noise, if you can hear that. The Swift itself isn't. The Swift, I think I paid about £18 for this umbrella type contraption. You can get wooden versions. I am tempted. I just bought sort of the cheapest available because I didn't know how I was going to get on with it and how much hand tie yarn I was going to buy. Famous last words. Should have invested in the wooden one. But yeah, you can get a wooden one available. I'm going to try and find some and link them because actually I want to try and look for one for myself, because they're the more elite yarn winders. You have to just be a bit careful. Make sure you don't get underneath. So this is fine. We've got a little loose bit there, but we'll tuck that in. But just make sure you don't get caught under this base for the wool winder. And as we've gone too far, we'll just hold it taut again until we get back. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pause the video for the moment until we get to the end, and then I'll show you the end, just what it happens and what it looks like to take it off. So I'll be back in a moment. Right, I'm back. So you can see we've not got a lot left on the end, so I am just going to finish this last bit off. The Swift does build up speed, and it kind of, as you can see, goes on its own momentum, so sometimes it can get a bit too quick. So we are done now. So we're just going to let the last bit go through. Let's get that out of the way so you can see me again. So let me undo this so you can move it along. I think you can kind of see anyway there. Oh, it's fine. My clamps come off. There you are. Clamps come off. It's fine. So this is what it looks like at the end. So as you can see, this is it caked, a ball of yarn. So all you have to do is just kind of, I just put my thumbs in the middle there and then lift it off gently. And there you have your caked ball of yarn. And you've got your end. Sometimes I'll just loose bits on the bottom, I'll just tuck inside. And then if you want to sort of undo it slightly and then just wrap it around to secure it, however you fancy. But if you're going to, obviously I only cake things when I know I'm about to use them. Because obviously keeping them in skein form keeps them nice and tidy and you know, no worries of them knotting, etc. So I'm caked and ready to go now, so I can just start from my end now and know that I'm not going to get in a tangle. So yeah, those are the two tools for yarn winding for hand dye. So yeah, as I say, and this is a Knit Pro, get the handle out of the way for you. This is a Knit Pro wool winder. It's just angled really and just goes round in a weird angle loop there, and everything sort of folds away, and you can take this section off and it all goes back in a box. Take it all out. And then the Swift, which I will show you now I'm all done. I can get it off the table. So this is what it looks like. It's just got the clamp at the bottom to clamp to the table, and then a little sort of push button here that it doesn't seem to work very well when you've not got it on a table. There we go. Can you see that? And it goes up quite large. Very much looks like an umbrella, but is not one. So yeah, that is hand dye yarn winding for you, or just, you know, any skein form that isn't already in a what we would call a traditional ball for you. So I'll try and put links in the bottom for both these items, so that you can find them, both the cheaper versions and the more expensive wooden Swifts. But that is how to cake your hand dye yarn. Thanks for watching. If there are other videos or anything you want me to show you that you think I might be able to, do give me a shout, and I will catch you next time. Bye.